My Three Sons, a beloved television classic that captured the hearts of audiences with its heartfelt portrayal of family life and charming humor. Yet, behind the laughter and warmth on screen lies a series of untold tragedies, the real-life stories of the talented actors who brought the show to life, only to face heartbreaking realities no one could have foreseen. When the cameras stopped rolling and the applause faded, many of these actors encountered devastating fates. Some battled unforeseen illnesses, while others met tragic and untimely deaths under mysterious circumstances. Some were taken by shocking accidents, while others succumbed to the crushing weight of fame and personal struggles. They dedicated their talents to entertaining millions, but in the end, destiny proved more merciless than any script ever written. This journey takes us back in time to uncover the hidden tragedies that befell the familiar faces of My Three Sons. Join us as we peel back the curtain and explore the lives of the stars who shone brightly on screen, only to be extinguished too soon by the darkness of fate. Fred MacMurray, born on August 30, 1908, in Kankakee, Illinois, was the steady and warm-hearted patriarch of My Three Sons, playing widower Steve Douglas in all 380 episodes. His portrayal of the wise and loving father cemented his place as one of television's most beloved dads, but beyond the screen, his life carried its own share of complexities. Before television, MacMurray was a successful film actor, known for his roles in Double Indemnity, 1944, where he played an insurance salesman lured into murder, and The Apartment, 1960, where he depicted a ruthless corporate executive. These darker roles contrasted sharply with his wholesome television persona. Despite his career success, his personal life saw both love and loss. His first wife, Lillian Lamont, passed away in 1953, leaving him to raise their two adopted children alone. He later found companionship in actress June Haver, a former starlet who had once been on the path to becoming a nun before choosing love with MacMurray. Their marriage lasted until his death, but their later years were marred by illness. A heavy smoker for much of his life, MacMurray was diagnosed with throat cancer in the 1980s, and though he initially survived, he suffered a debilitating stroke in 1988 that left him weakened. His once powerful presence faded as he endured a prolonged battle with leukemia, eventually passing away on November 5, 1991, at the age of 83 in Santa Monica, California. In his final years, he withdrew from public life, spending his last moments in quiet seclusion, far from the laughter and joy he had once brought to audiences worldwide. Eleanor Audley, born on November 19, 1905, in New York City, had a voice that could chill or enchant depending on the role. As Mrs. Vincent on My Three Sons, she brought her signature no-nonsense authority to the screen, much as she had done throughout her long career. While many may not recognize her face, her voice remains legendary. She was the unmistakable villainess behind Maleficent in Sleeping Beauty, 1959, and Lady Tremaine in Cinderella, 1950. Off-screen, Audley lived a private and somewhat solitary life, never marrying and avoiding the public eye. Despite her regal and commanding presence on screen, she suffered from chronic health issues in her later years, which ultimately forced her into retirement. She passed away on November 25, 1991, at the age of 86 in North Hollywood, California, after a long battle with respiratory illness. Though she faded quietly from Hollywood, her voice continues to haunt and mesmerize audiences to this day, ensuring that, like the wicked fairy she once portrayed, she would never truly be forgotten. Don Grady, born Don Louis Agradi on June 8, 1944, in San Diego, California, was best known as Robbie Douglas, the all-American boy next door whose journey from carefree teenager to responsible husband and father played out over the show's 12 seasons. A natural performer, Grady was a talented musician from a young age and even performed as a Mouseketeer on the Mickey Mouse Club before landing his iconic role on My Three Sons. While his time on the series made him a teen idol, he longed to be recognized for more than just his acting. Passionate about music, he played with the band The Yellow Balloon and later focused on composing, writing scores for film and television projects. But despite his talents, he found it difficult to fully escape the shadow of his early fame. His personal life was no less complicated. His first marriage to Julie Bunesser ended in divorce, leaving him disillusioned with love before he later remarried Virginia "Ginny" Lizader, with whom he had 2 children. Though this second marriage was more stable, Grady's life was cut short when he was diagnosed with multiple myeloma, a rare and aggressive form of cancer. He fought the disease privately, and his death on June 27, 2012, at the age of 68, shocked many who had no idea he was even sick. His passing marked the loss of yet another beloved figure from television's golden era, leaving fans with memories of the charming young man who had once been a symbol of youthful optimism. Mike Miner, born Michael Feddersen on December 7, 1940, in San Francisco, California, had Hollywood in his blood. His father, Don Feddersen, was a television producer responsible for My Three Sons. He played Duke on the series, a role that allowed him to showcase his easygoing charm, though his real breakthrough came with Petticoat Junction, where he starred as Steve Elliott and married Linda K. Henning's character, Betty Jo, both on screen and in real life. The marriage, however, did not last, crumbling under the pressures of Hollywood life. Miner pursued a singing career but never reached the stardom he hoped for, leading to personal disappointments and financial struggles. He remarried twice, but none of his relationships seemed to bring him lasting happiness. Later in life, he retreated from the entertainment world, quietly fading into obscurity. On January 28, 2016, he passed away at the age of 75 in New York City after battling cancer. Though his name might not be as widely remembered today, his contributions to classic television remain a testament to a career that, while never reaching the heights he dreamed of, still left an indelible mark. William Demarest, born on February 27, 1892, in St. Paul, Minnesota, was a veteran character actor whose gruff yet lovable portrayal of Uncle Charlie O'Casey brought a new dynamic to My Three Sons after the departure of William Frawley. A seasoned performer, Demarest had a career that spanned decades, appearing in countless films, including The Miracle of Morgan's Creek, 1944, and Sullivan's Travels, 1941, often as a tough, no-nonsense sidekick. Despite his comedic timing and robust screen presence, his personal life was far from lighthearted. He was married to Lucille Tyre, and though they remained together until her death, their life was not without struggles. In his later years, Demarest's health declined rapidly. The man who once brought energy and grumpiness to Uncle Charlie found himself facing the ravages of old age, suffering from prostate cancer and other ailments. His once lively personality faded as he spent his final years in quiet seclusion. On December 28, 1983, at the age of 91, he passed away in Palm Springs, California, leaving behind a legacy of unforgettable performances but also a sense of sadness, as many of his colleagues and friends had long since passed before him. Doris Singleton, born on September 28, 1919, in Brooklyn, New York, was a woman of many talents, first a ballet dancer, then a big band singer, and finally an actress who found her niche in television. On My Three Sons, she played Margaret Williams, appearing in 8 episodes as a poised and sophisticated presence, much like the characters she often portrayed. But she was best known as Carolyn Appleby, Lucy Ricardo's snooty friend on I Love Lucy, a role that made her a recognizable face in classic television. Despite her success on screen, Singleton's personal life was defined by devotion and loss. She was married to comedy writer Charles Isaacs for more than 60 years, a rare Hollywood union that stood the test of time. But after his death in 2002, Singleton lived out her later years in solitude, gradually withdrawing from the public eye. She passed away on June 26, 2012, at the age of 92 in Los Angeles, California. Her death was quiet, much like the final years of her life, but her legacy remains in the golden era of television she helped define. Tim Considine, born on December 31, 1940, in Los Angeles, California, was the original eldest son, Mike Douglas, on My Three Sons, appearing in the show's early years before leaving in 1965. Unlike his on-screen brothers, Considine came from Hollywood royalty. His father was a film producer, and his mother was the daughter of theater magnate Alexander Pantages. He grew up surrounded by show business and quickly became a star in his own right, appearing in Disney productions such as The Shaggy Dog, 1959, and Spin and Marty. However, his time in front of the camera was filled with internal conflict. He never truly loved acting and longed to pursue writing and photography. His departure from My Three Sons was abrupt, as he resisted the network's plans to make his character a more domesticated family man. His career never quite reached the same heights afterward, though he found happiness behind the camera as an author and automotive historian. In his personal life, his first marriage to Charlotte Stewart, an actress best known for Little House on the Prairie, ended in divorce, a painful split that left him disillusioned with love. He later married Willette Hunt, with whom he found more stability. In his later years, he largely retreated from public life, suffering from declining health before passing away on March 3, 2022, at the age of 81. Though he lived a long life, there was always a sense that he had left Hollywood behind before he had truly found his place in it. Betty Lynn, born on August 29, 1926, in Kansas City, Missouri, was beloved for her warmth and sweetness, qualities that carried into her portrayal of Janet Dawson on My Three Sons. While her role on the show was small, she was best known as Thelma Lou, the ever-patient girlfriend of Barney Fife on The Andy Griffith Show. But despite her on-screen charm, Lynn's personal life was often lonely. She never married, a decision she attributed to heartbreak and disappointment in love. Before her Hollywood career, she worked for the USO during World War II, performing for troops in dangerous locations, including Burma and China, where she saw firsthand the horrors of war. As she aged, health struggles began to overtake her, and she spent her final years in a retirement home in Mount Airy, North Carolina, the real-life inspiration for Mayberry. On October 16, 2021, she passed away at the age of 95, surrounded by those who had come to adore her in her later years. Though she never found the lasting romance she longed for, she remained a cherished figure in classic television history, remembered for the kindness she radiated both on and off the screen. William Frawley, born on February 26, 1887, in Burlington, Iowa, was already a seasoned Hollywood veteran by the time he took on the role of Michael Francis "Bub" O'Casey in My Three Sons. His portrayal of the grumpy but lovable grandfather figure was an extension of the same cantankerous charm he had perfected years earlier as Fred Mertz on I Love Lucy. However, Frawley's life off-screen was anything but light-hearted. A notorious heavy drinker, he had a reputation for being difficult to work with, often clashing with co-stars and showing up on set in less than ideal condition. His personal life was equally turbulent. His marriage to Edna Louise Brote ended in divorce, and he never remarried. Loneliness and declining health marked his later years, with alcoholism accelerating his physical deterioration. In 1965, health concerns forced him off My Three Sons, and without work, he seemed to fade into obscurity. On March 3, 1966, while walking near his Hollywood hotel, he suffered a massive heart attack and collapsed on the sidewalk. He was rushed to the hospital, but it was too late. The man who had brought so much laughter to audiences died alone, his legacy overshadowed by his personal struggles and his final years of decline. Naomi Stevens, born on November 29, 1925, in Trenton, New Jersey, was a character actress who brought warmth and humor to every role she played. As Mama Rossini on My Three Sons, she embodied the lively, affectionate matriarch who always had a wise word or a hearty meal to offer. Throughout her career, Stevens became a familiar face in Hollywood, often cast as ethnic motherly figures in films like Valley of the Dolls, 1967, and The Apartment, 1960. Despite her professional success, her personal life was marked by quiet struggles. Married to actor and writer Eden Gross, she devoted herself to family, yet the demands of Hollywood often left her feeling isolated. As time passed, roles became scarcer, and she slowly faded from the industry. In her later years, she suffered from Alzheimer's disease, a cruel fate that stripped her of the memories she had once cherished. On January 13, 2018, she passed away at the age of 92 in Woodland Hills, California, in a nursing home, far from the bright lights of the career that had defined so much of her life. Beverly Garland, born on October 17, 1926, in Santa Cruz, California, brought warmth and grace to My Three Sons as Barbara Harper Douglas, the woman who finally softened the widowed Steve Douglas' heart. Though she only appeared in 74 episodes, her presence added a new dynamic to the show, marking the first time the father figure had a romantic partner. Before My Three Sons, Garland was known for her work in B-movies and tough, independent female roles, starring in films like The Alligator People, 1959, and Not of This Earth, 1957. Unlike many of her colleagues, her career remained steady, but her personal life was not without pain. She was married multiple times, with her most enduring union being with real estate developer Fillmore Crank. While the marriage lasted, it was not without its ups and downs, particularly as Crank's business ventures often took precedence over their relationship. Garland faced her greatest battle in her later years when she was diagnosed with cancer. She fought valiantly, continuing to work in television well into the 1990s, but the disease ultimately took its toll. She passed away on December 5, 2008, at the age of 82, surrounded by family. Though she left behind a vast body of work, her death was a quiet one, her contributions often overlooked compared to the bigger stars of her era. Benson Fong, born on October 10, 1916, in Sacramento, California, carved a unique path in Hollywood as one of the few Asian American actors to maintain a steady career during an era of rampant stereotyping. On My Three Sons, he played Ray Wong, a small but memorable role in which he brought his characteristic dignity and charm. His most famous work included playing number 3 son in the Charlie Chan films and appearances in Flower Drum Song, 1961, and The Love Bug, 1968. However, Fong was never fully comfortable with Hollywood's portrayal of Asian characters and eventually turned his focus elsewhere. Outside of acting, he found great success as a businessman, founding the popular Ah Fong's restaurant chain, which became a staple in Los Angeles. Despite his achievements, his life was not without hardship. The pressures of running multiple businesses while maintaining an acting career strained his personal life, and though he remained married to Gloria Fong, the stress took its toll. He suffered a stroke in the late 1990s, leaving him weakened in his final years. On July 1, 1987, he passed away at the age of 70 due to complications from a second stroke. Though gone, his contributions to both Hollywood and the restaurant industry remain a testament to his resilience and hard work. Meredith MacRae, born on May 30, 1944, in Houston, Texas, was destined for Hollywood, the daughter of actors Gordon and Sheila MacRae. She brought charm and sweetness to My Three Sons as Sally Ann Morrison, the love interest and eventual wife of Robbie Douglas. Though her role on the show was relatively short-lived, it cemented her as a familiar face in 1960s television. Beyond My Three Sons, she became best known for her role as Billie Jo Bradley on Petticoat Junction, where she played the most sophisticated and level-headed of the Bradley sisters. But behind the camera, MacRae's life was filled with personal turmoil. She endured a tumultuous first marriage to actor Greg Mullivet, known for Mary Hartman. Though the couple had a daughter, their relationship was marred by emotional distance, and they eventually divorced. Her second marriage, to businessman Philip Neal, was more stable but came late in life. MacRae, who had always maintained a sunny disposition in public, privately battled health issues. In 1999, she was diagnosed with brain cancer, and despite multiple surgeries and treatments, her condition worsened. She passed away on July 14, 2000, at just 56 years old. Her final years were spent advocating for cancer awareness, but despite her courage, she succumbed to the disease, leaving behind a legacy of warmth and resilience that belied the hardships she endured. Joan Voss, born on July 30, 1927, in St. Albans, New York, was the epitome of mid-century Hollywood glamour, with a career that transitioned from modeling to acting. On My Three Sons, she played Jan Deering, a recurring character who added charm and warmth to the series. Before stepping into television, she graced the silver screen in films like Fort T, 1953, and The Affairs of Dobie Gillis, 1953. Despite her beauty and talent, Voss struggled to break out of the ingenue mold that Hollywood had placed upon her. While she maintained a steady career, her personal life was far less predictable. She married John Stevens, and though they remained together, the marriage had its share of turbulence, especially as Voss' career waned and she gradually disappeared from Hollywood. In her later years, she devoted herself to volunteer work and religious activities, a stark contrast to her glamorous early career. On June 4, 2001, she passed away at the age of 73 in Tarzanef, California. Though she lived a long life, the slow fading of her Hollywood dreams was a painful reality she carried with her until the end. Joan Tomkins, born on July 9, 1915, in Mount Vernon, New York, had an air of sophistication that made her a natural fit for roles like Lorraine Miller on My Three Sons. Appearing in 9 episodes, she portrayed a refined yet strong-willed character who reflected her own persona. Tomkins was a veteran stage actress before transitioning to television, where she became a familiar face on shows such as Peyton Place and The Waltons. However, behind her poised exterior, she endured heartbreak. She was married to Carl Swenson, a fellow actor best known for his role on Little House on the Prairie, and their relationship was marked by the pressures of Hollywood's unpredictability. Swenson's sudden death in 1978 left Tomkins devastated, and she never truly recovered from the loss. Though she continued to work sporadically, her heart was no longer in it. In her final years, she withdrew from the industry that had once embraced her, living quietly away from the spotlight. She passed away on January 29, 2005, at the age of 89 in Orange County, California, closing the final chapter of a life that had been filled with both triumph and sorrow. John Gallaudet, born on August 23, 1903, in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, was a character actor whose presence on My Three Sons as Bob Anderson, a recurring figure throughout the show's long run, was just a small piece of his vast television and film career. With his sharp features and authoritative demeanor, Gallaudet was a familiar face in Hollywood, often playing judges, businessmen, or authority figures in films such as The Glass Key, 1935, and High Sierra, 1941. Though his professional life was steady, his personal life was far from perfect. His marriage to Constance Helen Gallaudet seemed stable, but behind closed doors, the pressures of Hollywood, financial instability, and health concerns cast a shadow over his later years. As time went on, work became scarce, and Gallaudet quietly faded from the industry that had once embraced him. His final years were spent away from the spotlight, battling the slow decline of age and the loneliness that often comes with being forgotten in an ever-changing Hollywood. On November 5, 1983, he passed away in Los Angeles, California, at the age of 80. Though his name may not be instantly recognizable today, his body of work remains a quiet testament to the kind of working actor who kept Hollywood's golden age running. Stanley Livingston, born on November 24, 1950, in Los Angeles, California, became a household name as Chip Douglas, the freckle-faced youngest son on My Three Sons. His boyish charm and natural acting ability made him one of the most beloved child actors of the 1960s. However, like many who grow up in the spotlight, Livingston struggled with the transition into adulthood. Hollywood had little interest in him after his time as Chip ended, leaving him searching for purpose. While he continued to work behind the scenes as a director and producer, his personal life was far less stable. His first marriage to Sandra Livingston ended in divorce, a casualty of the industry's pressures. Though he eventually remarried and found stability, his journey was marked by periods of uncertainty and reinvention. Today, he remains active in Hollywood but largely works behind the camera, mentoring young actors and producing educational films. While no longer in the limelight, he continues to reflect on the highs and lows of his early fame with a mix of nostalgia and regret. Barry Livingston, born on December 17, 1953, in Los Angeles, California, followed in his older brother's footsteps but carved out his own identity as Ernie Douglas, the bespectacled and brainy adopted son on My Three Sons. Unlike many child stars, Barry managed to avoid the pitfalls of early fame, though his journey was not without struggles. As the show ended, he found himself typecast, fighting to prove that he was more than just the nerdy kid audiences had grown up with. His romantic life was filled with heartbreak, as early relationships crumbled under the weight of his career uncertainties. Eventually, he found lasting happiness with his wife, Karen Livingston, and built a stable family life, something that eluded so many of his fellow child actors. He continued acting, appearing in films like The Social Network, 2010, and TV series such as Mad Men and NCIS. While his career had its share of ups and downs, Barry defied the odds, remaining one of the rare child actors who successfully transitioned into adulthood without scandal or self-destruction. Tina Cole, born on August 4, 1943, in Hollywood, California, found fame as Katie Miller Douglas, the sweet and devoted wife of Robbie Douglas on My Three Sons. Her on-screen romance with Don Grady's character charmed audiences, but behind the scenes, her love life was far from picture-perfect. She and Grady shared a real-life attraction, but their off-screen relationship was never meant to be, tangled in complications and missed chances. Cole went on to marry and divorce twice, struggling with the challenges of love and career. After My Three Sons, she briefly stepped away from acting to focus on her family, but Hollywood always had a pull on her. She returned to entertainment as a singer with the King family and later became a drama coach. While her career saw its ups and downs, she found fulfillment in mentoring young actors and staying connected to her past. Today, she continues to embrace her legacy, often reminiscing about the golden days of classic television while navigating the bittersweet reality of aging in an industry that rarely looks back. Dawn Lynn, born on January 11, 1963, in Los Angeles, California, was just a child when she played Dodie Harper Douglas, the precocious and often mischievous stepdaughter on My Three Sons. Unlike many child actors, Lynn never fully embraced the Hollywood lifestyle, and as she grew older, she drifted away from the industry. Her personal life has been a roller coaster of challenges, including a series of tumultuous relationships and personal setbacks that kept her out of the spotlight. While she attempted to maintain a career in acting through her teenage years, the roles became scarce, and eventually, she stepped away from Hollywood altogether. Her adult life has been filled with mystery, as she kept her private affairs away from the public eye. In recent years, tragedy struck. She fell into a coma in 2022 following brain surgery, leaving friends and fans anxiously awaiting updates on her condition. Her fate remains uncertain, a stark reminder of how unpredictable life can be, even for those who once lived in the glow of television stardom. What do you think about the passing of the actors from My Three Sons, and who do you miss the most? Share your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to stay updated with our latest videos.